in energizing the DEA initiative, and I'm quoting directly from the article, or from the paper, to fulfill its goals of creating cultural transformation to support all institutional stakeholders. Well, that's kind of a tall order. You know, it's lofty words, it's a tall order for individuals within an organization to try to chip away at. And if you've got somebody to coordinate this and support from the board, I think that we have to even continue to look forward how we remain, as they quote, plugged in, and support the position and to move forward in basically keeping our focus on the students and how this helps our students. Because it's obviously it has. Just because we're showing some success now, we don't just, the company shows profit for a year. No, next year we're going to shoot for more. We're not going to say, okay, no, that's enough for this year. So I think that it'll enable us to pinpoint resources and funnel that to a person who's that's their job to do. But I fully support the position, and I will remain supportive.
I do want to just say one thing for everybody who's here, including the board. Don't let your focus only be on, as far as student success is concerned, on graduation rate, because that severely limits our possibilities with Pell Grants and other things. We've spent years trying to get Washington, D.C. to understand that student success means completing a certificate, finishing a program in something, getting a job where they can make money. It doesn't only mean that we graduated from a 2-year school and went on to a 4-year, or that we graduated with a degree. So please be aware of that when you're looking at the metrics, because that's what we service, that's what we do. We make sure that people can go on and be productive elsewhere, and that's what should count for us when we're looking at student success.
I'd just like to add that I've mentioned before, in my district, we have implemented this. My experience has been very positive. I've read examples where it's gone very, very badly. I appreciate the conversation here and the attempt to flush out some of the details of the implementation and what that would look like and what the purpose is. I think good decisions are based on difficult conversations, and although it can be frustrating at times, I think some good points have been made here. And I think the oversight and the implementation, I think we would benefit from fishing that out a little bit more. I don't know as we have to do all that right this second, but I don't hear anybody really disagreeing about the intent. I think everybody cares about the intent. I guess it's just the process and the particulars and how that's going to look at. If I'm kind of summing things up from what I've heard.
Okay, I'm assuming we're ready to move on to 5.2.
I actually have a couple questions, sorry. So I'm worried about the culture at the school. Faculty, we heard some anecdotes, some people speaking about their experience here, students specifically. And I'm concerned whether or not the administration has conducted an internal faculty polling with respect to self-censoring on maybe not speaking up on an issue. As Trustee Stanton has said, it's a divisive, complicated issue. To speak out against it or to question it really puts somebody's neck on the line, and it's a scary thing. So my question is whether or not the administration is aware of any kind of self-censorship that is going on at the faculty level, student level. We heard again anecdotes, and I suppose if the administration could speak to the student aspect of that as well, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thanks for asking. I will say that I have been very engaged with various student groups throughout my 3 years here at the college. I have heard lots of anecdotes as well that are shared. However, in every single case that I hear a comment made, we immediately explore whether or not a report had in fact been submitted. All reports of concerns from students that are are submitted are immediately reviewed, and there's a very significant process that's in place through our student development area that does that. When I meet with students, I have never refused a meeting with any of the student groups, including some of those who spoke today. And I do ask for evidence in those moments, because we absolutely, as an administration, would follow up on any issues. Students do also have the rights and responsibilities document, and students can report cases where they feel as though bias on grade or a classroom issue is reported into a system and immediately evaluated. All of that said, that doesn't mean that things are always perfect, but with regard to faculty in the classroom, I will say that I believe our faculty work very hard to cover the curriculum and the material that they are obligated to as a part of their professional practice. They aren't in the classrooms just speaking on their own personal preferences. There's a curriculum that has performance standards and required assessments to meet standards for all students, so that we know when they graduate from here, they will be able to successfully engage in their career or transfer, and very importantly, complete their bachelor's degree. That said, faculty are people who also have perspectives, and I think the way in which you navigate delivery of a personal perspective in the classroom is that you declare it's your personal perspective in the moment. We all have our own lived experiences, and every time in the classroom, I know I've sat through many in my journey toward a doctorate, the times in which students and faculty are encouraged to engage in sharing real life's experiences and perspectives around the content being delivered creates a very rich dynamic learning experience. The critical factors in that are that all people in the room are encouraged to share their perspectives, and that they're all heard respectfully. And when a faculty who does have a position of power in the classroom is sharing their perspective, it's important they declare that's their perspective, but it doesn't mean that that is the place where they're going to do their evaluation from. So it's a complex issue, and probably a far deeper conversation than in a matter of 30 seconds here, but I would encourage any of the Board of Trustees to find time to come to our college campus and talk to the people and the employees that are here. I think you will find the dialogue immensely enlightening and encouraging. There are people here who are passionate about student success, and they, like us in this very room, struggle with when diverse perspectives are shared, and sometimes in very different ways. But I would encourage trustees to get to know these people. We speak of faculty as though there's some nebulous group of group-mindedness, and I assure you, they are all very independent, individual people who are very concerned about the success of students at the college, and do seek to challenge themselves and their minds about ways in which they can improve their teaching practices to live under our teaching and learning excellence pillar. And many are deeply engaged in new professional development outside of this college to deepen their subject matter expertise, but also deepen their practices that they bring into the classroom in both teaching and assessment of students.
Just in follow-up to that, has the administration run into any issue with faculty that have perhaps pushed back on diversity training in instances where perhaps there's hostility, nasty emails going back and forth? Is that something that has been experienced here?
I can only speak to the 3 years I've been here. Does everyone, and I'll expand it beyond faculty, does everyone step into this space in the same way? No, we're all people out in society. What happens here at the college is representative of our community. Is there sometimes conversation about that and the value of it, sure, absolutely. Do I personally feel that I've ever entered into a space of hostility toward it? No. I will say I have in recent weeks experienced a lot of hostility as a result of this dialogue from the external community.
Thank you. Last follow-up question related to faculty. I'm curious as to whether or not the administration has ever recommended perhaps that someone not be retained because maybe they've pushed back on mandatory or voluntary diversity-related training.
Again, I can only speak to the last 3 years. I'm not aware of an instance in the last 3 years where that's occurred, but faculty are a part of the tenure process, which does have an evaluative process in their journey. That's a part of their collective bargaining agreement, so they honor that system. But as a part of their scholarly practice, all faculty are expected to continue to grow and develop as a part of their role. And this college invests well to make sure that faculty have the opportunity, whether they are adjunct or full-time, to be able to engage in meaningful professional development that advances the strategic efforts and supports student success.
Thank you.
And there is a process for what you just asked. If a faculty member is not granted tenure. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
5.2, fiscal year 2022 bond issuance overview.
All right, thank you. There is other important work at this board agenda, and I am going to invite to the podium for the last time Vice President Ken Gott, who is in partnership with our bond council going to review with the board our recommended methodology for the issuance of bonds. I just want to remind the board that this is in direct alignment with the Master Plan 2020 that the board just adopted in June with the fiscal year 22 budget and the projects which we identified as a part of the budget proposal. So I'll turn it over. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. And I was going to also have Connie Gratis join me to help present. Connie, would you help me introduce our colleagues?
Sure. So, we have Angela Reed, who is here from Chapman College, who is our bond counsel, and over here on this side, and I have Shannon Jacobson,